What's up guys, David here, and today we have an interesting speed test between the LG V30 and the Galaxy Note 8 because, at first glance when you take a look at the spec sheets, the Note 8 seems to have the edge. It has the same exact processor as the V30, but it comes with an extra 2GB of RAM. But the thing is, LG has always done a pretty good job at optimizing their phone software. Not to mention that the Snapdragon 835 in the V30 is actually clocked at a higher frequency than it is on the Note 8. So the question is, are the V30's software optimizations and its higher clocked processor enough to overcome the 6GB of RAM on the Note 8? Let's find out. This episode is brought to you by Guns of Boom. Guns of Boom is one of the best mobile shooters out there. It's super easy to play, and it's like having a real first-person shooter game from a PC right on your phone. The game is fast-paced with non-stop action, and I just love the look of the graphics and gameplay. You can customize your character to match your style, you can upgrade your guns and weapons, and if you're good enough, you can dominate your opponents online. Guns of Boom is available for free on both iOS and Android, so click on that link down below in the description and start playing today. Okay, we'll begin by starting the stopwatches on each phone and then jump right into the first row of system apps, where the Galaxy Note 8 was able to snap that selfie at a faster rate, pushing it ahead with it already moving on to the second row. But the V30 hasn't fallen too far behind, with its fast animations allowing it to plow through Instagram and Snapchat, with it joining the Note 8 in Photoshop. However, it does seem to be struggling a bit, allowing the Note 8 to increase its lead as it begins working on lapses, where we've actually increased the length of the clip being time-lapsed here from 24 frames up to 72 frames long, which should help us better distinguish the raw processing power on these phones, where in theory the V30 should have the advantage with its higher clock speed. But for whatever reason, it seems to be the opposite, with the V30 processing the time-lapse at a significantly slower rate, which only adds on to the Note 8's lead, with it now being a full app ahead as it works on flip diving, while the V30 is still trying its best to catch up in Subway Surfers. And a little bit of good news for the V30, as it seems to complete Subway Surfers at a faster rate, allowing it to shrink the gap between it and the Note 8, but the bad news is it seems like it's loading flip diving at a slower rate, meaning the Note 8's one app lead still remains fully intact, with it actually looking to improve on it as it starts working on Bullet Force, with the V30 doing itself no favors loading Fit the Fat slower as well, allowing the Note 8's one app lead to turn into a two app lead, with it flying through Spotify and moving on to ESPN, while the V30 only just started working on Bullet Force. So the Note 8 is beginning to run away with it here in the first lap, with it finishing up with Netflix and moving on to the last leg in loading both the mobile and full versions of the Amazon website, which the Note 8 does so without any hiccups, allowing it to finish the first lap with a time of 1 minute and 36 seconds. And unfortunately for the V30, things don't look like they're getting any better, with it loading Bullet Force, Spotify, and ESPN at a slower rate. So at this point, the Note 8 is just looking to embarrass the V30, with it keeping all the apps so far open and ready to go in the background, with the V30 taking a full 21 seconds longer to finish the first lap, clocking in a time of 1 minute and 57, which is only 9 seconds quicker than the 2 minutes and 5 seconds it took the Note 8 to complete both laps. So a dominant performance from the Galaxy Note 8, and honestly a disappointing one from the V30, with it failing to keep Netflix, ESPN, and even Spotify open and ready to go. But surprisingly, the V30 somehow manages to keep Bullet Force open, as it does Fit the Fat. So clearly, LG's software is optimizing for the more heavy-duty apps, with it keeping all 4 games ready to go in the background, but unfortunately the optimizations alone aren't enough, with the 4GB of RAM failing to keep Photoshop open. So we'll go ahead and fast forward the V30 to the finish line, where it kept most of the remaining apps open except for the calendar, with it finally completing the test with a time of 2 minutes and 55 seconds, making the winner by a huge margin, the Galaxy Note 8. Okay, so here are the individual app load up times from the first lap, where you can see that outside of Instagram and Subway Surfers, the Note 8 loaded all of the apps significantly faster than the V30. Anyways, that is it for me in this video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the very next episode.